Beautiful, good morning and welcome to another wonderful edition of The Review. This is a bright day. It's so good that you are there. I know a lot of people actually look forward to this time. You know why? Because it is time when we discuss topical issues. Today I want to talk about something very, very important, and it's about investments in Africa. Then you bring it down to Nigeria. A lot of companies, organizations have left the country, and some are still coming in to invest. But then, how conducive is the economy of the nation for investors? We will be talking about that this morning, and we'll let you know what number is Nigeria ranking as the most conducive countries for investors. You'll get to know the number Nigeria is this morning. Joining me on the conversation is a political economist. He is a man, I know you may have seen him on other screens, including this place. He's been to different stations. He's done so well in the economic department of various TV stations and, of course, the country at large. Let me introduce my guest to you. His name is Adefolarin Olamilekon. Good morning, Olamilekon.
Good morning to you, Ramson.
It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, how was the protest?
Protest, for those of us that partially participated in it, because I was on the field through that Thursday, Friday, then Saturday, I was doing several media houses to analyze the protest. It was for me, it was partially successful and a partial lesson for us, especially for the people in government, to learn and listen to the voice of Nigerians.
But do you think it's going to have anything to do with the economy?
It does that, because over 400 to 500 billion have been lost to the economy as a result of the rioting and rampaging aspect of the protest, because we can't see the protesters were the one that were destroying, looting houses or looting shops. We have a profile of individuals who participated as a means of protest, but just rioting and rampaging and extorting people on the highway. So we have lost quite billions of naira to it, but we just hope that even at that, the main message has been passed to the government, which means that government must be able to address to the issues of citizens.
That's actually the question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, do you think this protest affected the government in any way? That's the question I wanted to ask, but then you've answered it. All right, let's go to what we want to talk about today. As a matter of fact, Nigeria ranked as 9th top investment destinations in Africa for 2024.
No, it's quite interesting that particular report came out from Rand Merchant Bank as well as Gibson Institute of Business Science. They are based in South Africa, and they did a random research on 31 African countries, which are regarded as the fulcrum of African economic investment destination. And out of it all, Nigeria came in 9th position after Seychelles, which was first, Mauritius second, Egypt third, South Africa fourth, and Morocco 5th, Ghana 6th, and Senegal 7th. Then Nigeria was on the 9th position of it all. Although it was quite an interesting ranking, but it shows that even though we are the largest economy in Africa, we are still lagging behind in some certain aspects, particularly when it comes to political stability. That's one of the measurements they use, one of the metrics they use in measuring it, as well as social and human development is also one of the areas that Nigeria failed practically, and not to mention the aspect of market accessibility as well as economic innovation. Innovation particularly, we are lacking behind innovation, which talks about how government policy attract a new way of doing business in Nigeria.
Okay. Let me ask now. Nigeria 9th, that position. I felt some Nigerians. If you tell some Nigerians right now that Nigeria is 9th conducive country for investors, they will doubt it. They will argue it based on what is happening.
Exactly.
We've seen companies, all right, firms leaving Nigeria. The other day, we saw on paper about how many companies, firms left Nigeria, and some are still operating at a minimal level.
Exactly.
Maybe they will also leave, and thousands have actually lost their job. So when we hear that Nigeria is conducive for investors, are you in consonant with that ranking?
I think what we need to understand, the ranking is on African countries, not global ranking. If it has to be global ranking, the mechanism of the metric of measurement or assessment will be different. But right now, we're looking at some aspect of African that could attract businesses. Nigeria came 9th. And one of the biggest assessment metric that we use in getting that point was our large population. and our market size. Large population in terms of a youthful population that we have, which can attract more buying and selling of goods and trade in Nigeria, as well as the access to potential raw materials.
Okay.
In Africa, for instance, it's only one country that can compete with Nigeria with raw material. That is DRC Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the leading African countries with raw material. It is after them followed with Nigeria. So these are the two things that justify why we are still in that ninth position. Because if you look at other parameters, we could say because of instability of government policy somersault from CBN as well as the federal government, we could also give that excuse, okay, because of power shortage, energy costs, and the rest of them, to give us the excuse that we don't supposed to be in that ranking. But one potential metric that make us to be in the ranking and
the raw material
is the raw material. We have abundant of it.
Hold your thought for a minute. Let me ask this question. If you talk about investment, investment is in categories.
Exactly.
Okay, there are different forms of investment.
Definitely.
Which aspect of investment are they really talking about right now? Because investors. Any investment in Nigeria right now that will not give people employment, that will not give people job, put food on people's table, I don't think they will look at it as important investment, because some of these investments, Nigerians look at it as investments being made for the rich. Okay?
Definitely. You are very correct in that as well, because there are two forms of investment. We have foreign portfolio investors that talk about investing in fixed assets. Fixed assets include treasury papers, bonds paper, shares in capital market. These are short, medium-term investment that could just take maybe 1 to 2 years. Then the other part of investment is foreign direct investment that talk about building factory, building investment in building properties like construction of estate and the rest of them. Those kind of investment could take longer time before you could recoup your money. And those are the type that we are trying to mention. In Nigeria, for instance, over the last 13 months of this current administration, they have been able to attract over a 1 trillion investment into the country. But ask me, where does those money go? They goes to the FPI, foreign portfolio investment. People go there to buy treasury paper, go buy government papers.
But that's not
shares.
what Nigerians need.
Definitely, because those investments, and the reason of people putting their money in those investments goes to the issue of the stability of our politics, the earning that these investments will bring, and the challenge that we have in our economy.
Let me ask, you are a political economist.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, what is more paramount and important as far as Nigeria is concerned is the people. Okay, and whatever investment that is tilted towards a particular set of people, especially people who are already rich, making the rich richer, do you think it is something that Nigerians want to buy into? Because if you want to talk about a working economy, it should be an economy that is all-encompassing, both the rich happy about it, the poor being carried along too. But this kind of investment, even if it is billion, giving credit to this administration, since it is this aspect of investment that has to do with the rich, getting treasuries and shares and all of that, which can only be obtained by the rich and not positively affecting the poor. Do you think that is good enough for our economy?
Actually, partially is part of the growth of economy, but it is something that has to do with the top to bottom economic benchmark, in a sense that such investments, as widely highlighted, doesn't get to the poor. The poor doesn't participate in share buying. The poor doesn't have money to go and buy treasury paper. The poor doesn't go to buy bonds paper. Even right now, as we speak, most banks in Nigeria are trying to do their recapitalization. They are selling their shares. How many people are even interested? Even as cheap as those shares is at this point, nobody is interested.
Me messages.
Exactly. But the key point is that if government doesn't put its house in order, if government policy doesn't attract a way whereby we can have concrete investment that will set up factory, set up cottage industries, that will invest in agriculture, that will invest in feasible, concrete, evidence economic driving solutions sectors, definitely Nigerians will not be happy. Because when we talk about investment in concrete aspect of the economy, we're talking about one thing that will generate employment, something that will generate further income to the bottom of the poor in the society, and that is missing. As a result of what? The deficit structure in our economy. Today we are still complaining about our power generation not meeting up with the requirement, although there has been an effort to improve the power generation to about 5,101 megawatts just in recent time, but it's still very, very low compared to the demand of Nigeria, because the total demand of Nigeria at this point in time is over 35,000 megawatts that we require to ginger the economy, but that is still missing. They talk about road infrastructure. It's still very a challenge for us to have good road. Apart from federal government trunk A road that is still a little bit visible, what about state and local government road? They are also not available. Then talk about cost of energy. Today we are still battling with high cost of energy, particularly the removal of fuel subsidy. So investors look at things that will improve their financial impact on the economy.
Look at fuel.
Exactly.
Dangote refinery cannot even get crude.
These are
some of the things they should be looking at.
That's another issue that if I want to discuss that one, we will not leave yesterday. So the oil and gas sector in Nigeria is a mystery. A mystery that nobody can really fine-tune. How come we have found ourselves in that mess? Particularly with oil theft, particularly with low production, and particularly with the non-transparency of NNPC and all the agencies within that sector, and including the stakeholders themselves. In as much as we are trying to, many of us are supporting Dangote to get crude oil, we should also be very, very careful that this set of businessmen also have their way of using propaganda to blackmail the government, push them to one corner, get what they want, but they will fail to transmit what they have gotten into the life of the people. We are just hearing today that maybe PMS will be going for 600. Why 600? Why not 300? Why not 200? When you have gotten the crude
I think
oil?
there was a disclaimer to that notice yesterday that Dangote refinery said they didn't make any announcement like that.
Even people are not saying they are the one that made the announcement. The report we had was the IPMAN. Marketers were the one making that suggestion.
That's a speculation.
Speculation from their own angle. I think if Dangote have put a disclaimer to that, the marketing segment or the marketers will also come out and say whether they are the one that said it or they're not the one that said it. So what I'm trying to point out, in as much as we need to understand the psyche of every businessman, they will use the opportunity to tell government to do a particular policy to favor them. But how they now transmit that policy to the life for you and I, who are the ordinary people, that's where the challenge comes from.
All right, that's where the challenge is, translating these policies and these opportunities into something tangible that will affect the life of the people. Well, no matter what, this kind of investment, talking about the Dangote refinery, is another investment in the country. I think this is more tangible than that of the share and the bond, which is only for the people who have the money. But at least Dangote refinery, both everybody, casual workers, and even people who want to do one or two jobs to earn a living can also do one or two there. That kind of investment is something that can touch lives at the grassroots. Well, thank you very much, Defolarin Olamileko, a political economist who is with us today. We hope to have you more often, all right? And thank you very much for making out time to be here out of your busy schedule. The other time I saw you, it was on another media platform you've been up and doing in the media space. Thank you very much for finding time to be with us today. We'll come on your way again, and that's going to be tomorrow for another wonderful edition of The Review. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a fruitful day. Bye-bye for now.